Welcome to the podcast. We Do Recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
All right, everybody. This week on episode 62 of We Do Recover with Jared Miller, we are talking about relationships in recovery. Very specifically, relationships in early recovery. And to have this conversation with me, I've invited my beautiful wife, Mandy, on.
Hello.
We got Luke on.
What's up?
And Mandy, his fiance, right?
Yes.
So let's start right there. I got the news dropped on me today that you guys are getting married soon.
Yes, we are.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What's going on with that? When's the date? What's the plans? Like, let's just get into that's some good stuff.
Whoa. You completely just skipped over the first part of the show.
I know. We'll come back to it.
We'll talk about the sponsor?
We'll come back to it. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Well, we had been together for
Almost 2 years now.
2 years, but I asked her to marry me like a year ago, and
Nice.
I was like, let's, I want to marry you, but let's make sure we're good, and so then I like numbers, so my boy was born on 12/20/2020, and then I was like, I'm gonna forget when I get older, so I need some good dates. So then we were talking about February, and I was like, 2/2/2/2, and so I was like, let's get married on February 22nd, and it was actually at Thanksgiving dinner with my family. We were joking about it at first, and then we're like, could we really do that? And then we're like, let's do it. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So
That's
very
fantastic.
soon. Yeah.
So what is it going to be? What are the colors, Mandy?
I already got my dress, and it's actually getting tailored right now. So it's a champagne color, and I kind of wanted to keep it like maybe pastel blush.
Hey, if you can't drink
And
champagne at your wedding, you might as well wear a champagne color, right?
Absolutely.
I like it. You know what I mean?
Good, rational
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Mandy?
I think it's great.
I think they're still in our date, babe. Remember how we did 7/14/21? They're
Yeah.
trying to pull off.
Yeah.
Well, ours was a joke a little bit at first too.
Yeah, and then we're like,
Yeah.
okay,
And I was
we
like,
like
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, as Sean said, I totally got off track. I have had way too much coffee today, and so I'm stoked for episode 62. As you can tell, man, I am out of control. Episode 62 is brought to you by Steps Recovery Centers. They are ready to help when you're ready to reach out. Reach out to them by calling them at 801-800-8142. That phone number is 801-800-8142. And while we're at it, we might as well get some check-ins. We've already kind of kicked this thing off, but let's hear what's new and good. What's going on in your world, babe?
So my new and good is rehearsals for West Side Story. So they're well
cool.
underway, and they're really fun. Lots of time, lots of commitment, but it's a great experience.
So for those of you that don't know, Mandy tried out for West Side Story at the St. George Opera House, and she made it. She got a part of one of the jets, right? Am I getting this right, babe?
Yeah, so far.
See that glare?
cool.
That glare, Luke. You got to be careful because you don't know whether
Yeah.
it's like.
All right, who are the other ones? Not the Jets.
Sharks.
No. I was supposed.
I see. It was supposed to be a test.
He had
I
no
see
idea.
what you were doing.
He would
had
not
no
have
idea.
known.
I
He
know.
would
Sean's
not have
trying to
known.
get me in trouble, bro.
Doesn't
Messed
take
up.
much.
Well, awesome. That's good. This is fun for me. I'm probably so excited because this is the first time I actually get to spend time with my wife because she's always at rehearsal. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Those things take a lot of practice and time.
Yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
it's fun in the end.
Yeah. It has been, yes.
Crazy how much
Awesome.
practice they do. All right. Well, talk to me, guys. What's new and good in your world? Luke, let's let the ladies start off first. So, Mandy, what is new and good in your world? What's going on with you?
Right now in my world, I'm pretty much just planning this wedding. I work with my dad in his dental lab. I'm the scan and design tech, pretty much, making teeth and stuff like that. So that's fun. And I get to
Nice.
spend time with my dad, and that's a really great bonding experience for me because I didn't have that for quite a while
Absolutely.
from my addiction. And I get to bring my son with me, so that's even better,
Oh,
you
that's
know?
very
So I
cool.
get mommy and son time all the time.
While you're at work.
Yes.
Man, you're blessed. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
What else? Just I also do a lot of like H&I stuff for AA. So I take steps in or meetings into steps once a week. So
Our sponsor.
Yes,
Fantastic.
I do that.
For those of you that don't know, H&I stands for Hospitals and Institutions, and it's where fellowships, community-based fellowships, go into these places and do meetings.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that fills my spiritual cup, and I just love that. To actually see where I was at one point and to be able to be on the other side and help, it's just a really good feeling.
So cool, right?
Yeah, it is. And other than that, just being a mom is a lot of work and time. So, but I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. I love it. Have you actually done the 12th step, or are you just?
I'm
kinda
actually
doing
on
the service?
on step 8 right now. So
Fantastic.
going through 4 through 7 made me realize my part in all the things,
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
the things.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes on the I don't know, building your heart back up, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. And the
so.
thing I love about that is you're already doing 12th step stuff before you
Yeah.
even hit that step. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Luke, let's hear from you.
Well, I
So
don't know
what
if
is
I
new
can
and
top
good,
that.
man? Hey, that's true. She
Good
set the bar
stuff.
pretty high.
Yeah, so I'm the one in the background pretending like I'm picking out stuff for the wedding stuff, but I just say, yeah, that's right. You like it? Okay. We're
Smart
there.
man. Hey, that is smart man. Yes.
But right now in my life, I work a lot. So I started back about a year and a half ago at a car parts place, and I've just worked my way up in this company and have a boss that actually I would consider him my sponsor. So I don't actually have a sponsor, but I can
Okay.
talk to this guy on a spiritual level. Like,
So he's like a mentor to you, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, he kind of, like she was talking, fills her spiritual cup. He helps me fill my spiritual cup. And so I've been working in that company. I work over in Cedar, so I don't get a lot of family time during the week because it's like, 10 hours driving.
Yeah. An hour drive there, 8 hours there, hour drive back for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm the type of guy on the weekend. It's like, what do you want to do? I just want to chill,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hang out with my son, and that's really what's going on in my life right now. Just simple stuff.
That's the good stuff, dude.
Oh yeah,
I hear you guys are getting ready to move though.
we are, which is also like all happening at once because we're moving 1st of February, and then we're getting married on the 22nd. So it's like all like happening quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what
Good
did we
things.
do?
Good things. Good things. Embrace it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Roll with it. That sounds like a blast.
It's
Okay.
possible.
So let's get rocking and rolling. So you guys, look, there's no other way to really put it. In the treatment industry and in recovery in general, typically relationships in early recovery are kind of frowned upon. Now, I know you guys, is it crazy to you that it's been 2 years?
Yes,
Yeah.
it went by really quick. Yeah, it did.
So I'll let you guys share how we met or share as much or as little as you want. But it's crazy to me that 2 years has gone by. So talk to us a little bit about your guys' relationship. Hit him with the first question.
How'd y'all meet?
There you go. Let's get it.
Well, we both were in Lionsgate Residential Rehab together.
Oh,
Okay.
Wait.
Whoa.
So she was in there first, and I come in there like for my second time because I'm an addict, so
Yeah.
got to do it a few times before I figure it out.
Yeah.
But I come in there and she just looks soulless, man, like sucked up and soulless, and I was like, I gotta stay away from her. She looks mean, man.
Yeah.
I
I remember
probably
she
was.
used to wear like some black,
I
really
know.
high boots.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
did not look like you wanted to mess with her.
No,
Yeah. It's true.
yeah, and then we actually hated each other. So
At first?
yeah,
I love that. That's
like-
awesome.
I couldn't stand him. I thought that he was a cop and a teller and like all this stuff. So, yeah.
and then as you're going through the program, you have that spiritual awakening, right?
Yeah.
And so I
Hopefully.
watched. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it right.
Right.
Well, we started a big book study at 6 o'clock in the morning together too, though, and that really helped me open up to him and him open up to me, and I really got to know who he was at first, and that's where our friendship started, and from there, it turned into true love.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anything you want to add on to that?
No, but what was cool is she started this big book study, but she did it at first because she thought she was going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
And so she didn't want to go back to jail, right? And so at first she's like, okay, I'll start this and start to pretend I'm getting into the program. And I could see this because I was close to her, right? And then one day she was reading this book called The Shift. And I don't know if anybody's read that.
Oh, yeah,
but
great book.
She loved this book. And I watched her transform from that like evil, like in her eyes to like they just cleared up. And then
That's actually when I had a turning point in my recovery, and that's when I surrendered and I gave all my might to I'm going to do it this time, you know.
You're all in.
Yeah, all in.
Dove in.
So
Yeah.
I literally had a breakdown at the gym, riding a bike, reading this book, figuring it out. So I started crying, and that's when it happened. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you guys end up, the attraction happens in residential, little rehab romance, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
remember, they shame this. Like,
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in
Highly not
residential,
recommended.
right? And
Yeah.
feelings
so
are
we were-
new,
yeah.
you know, you're just coming off of.
So why, let me put this back on you. See, I'm a counselor. I'm good at doing this. So
Yeah.
so why do you think that they are against this in your
I know why. Because in the beginning of sobriety, I think that it's a really good idea to focus on yourself.
yep.
Get to know yourself, and because it's distractions. When you have a relationship, it distracts you from figuring out why you're in the situation, what you're in, you know.
Absolutely. When you got that true love
Yeah,
that you just
exactly.
described, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how can you concentrate on yourself
Yeah.
or you know, working some stuff out between the ears when you're
Yes.
infatuated? Okay, Luke, let's get your take on it. Why would somebody not recommend relationships, rehab, romance?
Well, mainly because like when you're coming off of drugs or alcohol, you've been numb for so long, right? And so
Absolutely.
so like just seeing the sky in the morning, it's a different color. Like just you're breathing differently. And so you're trying to learn like who you are. And if you've been numbed for so long, I mean, really, I truly believe any opposite sex like that you hang around, you could be attracted to them because it's new, because there's so much new around you. You know?
That dopamine release, right? It's the same thing that we
Right.
do like when we're out in active addiction, that dopamine releases in the brain. However, we do have a normie here on the podcast with us today. And I think that I truly do believe this stretches beyond just like, you know, of course, us addicts think that we're, you know, so unique that it only pertains to us, right?
Yeah.
But like just other people, I mean, both of us have been through previous marriages and divorces. So what recommendations do you have on somebody that's just getting out of a bad relationship on not jumping into a new one?
Don't do it.
Why would that? Why? The words of wisdom. Why
Yep,
would that
right
be,
there.
babe?
Just listen to me. Because it's easy to try and change yourself for someone that you think you might like, and that takes you away from who you are. And when you're not true to yourself, you're not going to be able to find true happiness.
Absolutely. Well said.
I love
so we
that.
can all agree
Yeah.
we need to kind of work on ourselves, get ourselves healthy, change our vibration. Okay.
Yes.
That wasn't your guys' story, though.
No.
And episode 62 is all about your guys. So
Right, and it wasn't at first. So as we progressed in our relationship, we both graduated Lionsgate residential, and then we started the day treatment.
PHP.
Yes,
Yep.
and that's when we kind of took the relationship a lot farther.
They have a baby
And,
together if
yeah,
you didn't pick that up.
Right. So I ended up getting pregnant pretty quick. And pretty quick also we decided that we need to come clean and be honest about this situation.
My heart just dropped
Right.
for you.
Yeah. It was pretty
That's
it was the scariest thing I've ever
Well,
done.
and to add on top of this, she's talking about just telling them, but she's in drug court, right?
Yes.
So in phase 1 of drug court, you can't really have association in that way.
Right.
And you could go back to jail. And to top it off, I'm on federal probation on pretrial release on a 20-year charge, right? And so I'm thinking we're both going to get kicked out. And
Guys, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
There's more at play
Like I
here than
said,
just getting
it's
kicked
true
out.
love,
Yes.
you know.
True love always prevails.
I love it. Thank you for that, though, because that really just it paints a picture of just what was at stake here.
Yeah. So we're like,
Yes.
we're terrified. And so when you're in active addiction, telling the truth is probably never happens, right?
So foreign to us.
Yeah. And so that's like the main thing I got out of like treatment is you need to tell the truth because that's the only way you'll be set free.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were really okay with it. Like if I was going to go to prison, so be it. At least I told the truth, you know, for once in my life. And
That's kind of like the conclusion we came to.
Right.
So we said a prayer together out in the parking lot of this
Yeah.
treatment center.
Uh-huh.
And we go upstairs and
We're
halfway
both crying.
through, Mandy's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. And I grab her hand and we're like, I'm doing this.
yeah.
Good for you, Luke.
And
That's
we
awesome.
and we get up there and honestly, we told them and we felt good, right? And they didn't freak out
No.
and they're like, okay, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. That was it.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, then I guess we're good. You
So
know?
just how much sleep did you get that night?
None.
None. yeah. None.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So the next day, we ended up both getting kicked out of Lionsgate. And again, me being in drug court at the time and him on probation, it was a scary situation. They left it kind of up to us. And that same day, we both called around immediately and got into another
Yeah, I
like
went
day
over.
treatment.
I went over to.
Separate ones.
So did you choose to leave, or did they ask you to leave
No.
because of their relationship?
We got asked to leave.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we definitely got asked to leave, and I gotta put this up there how upset I was
Oh,
because
yeah.
this place is up steps, right, to get to the
treatment center has
treatment.
a
It's
flight
like
of stairs.
It's up on the second floor.
'Kay.
So I get mad when they kick us out, mainly because I was more worried about her because she has my kid, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm like, oh, they kick her out. I'm never going to see her again, right? So they're going to send her away or whatever. So I get so mad. I'm like, screw this, and go flying in my wheelchair. By the way, if you didn't know, I'm paralyzed. I go flying in my wheelchair down a flight of stairs by
Yeah.
myself.
Backwards. yeah.
I'm like, screw you guys.
I'm out. Oh man.
And
Yeah.
then
But
So now let's just slow it down for a sec here. For good reason, right? I don't want to knock Lionsgate because I believe most treatment centers have good intentions.
Oh,
They
yeah.
want the best for people.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, you can kind of see from their side of it, right?
Oh,
Like
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
one of the big rules, I do orientation every Tuesday at Steps, and we review the rules. And I always say, here's one of the biggest rules we have. No fraternization,
right.
Yep.
right?
Especially
yeah.
in the same circle, like
Yep.
of people. We were in the same group, and that's even worse. You know.
Yeah, because it's hard to be on it. One of
Yeah.
the reasons I think too is once you have feelings towards someone, like Mandy said earlier, you're trying to kind of be the person that person wants you to be, right? And so
Yeah.
you're not being truly honest in that
You're not
circle.
being authentic. You're not being
No.
rigorously
Because
authentic.
you're worried
Yeah.
about what someone else is thinking at
Yeah, that
point.
pride, what I think you think about me.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And so I'm not knocking Lionsgate at all. I'm saying just the feelings we had at that moment.
For sure. For
but,
sure.
But in
Yeah.
the end,
it was a
um,
blessing in the end.
yeah, because we got to get into.
Well, and you're lucky that you almost didn't kill yourself going down those flight of stairs, Luke.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I've seen Luke in that wheelchair though, and
Yeah,
he
no,
could,
he's-
he could be like in the X Games.
He's amazing.
So it's like no surprise to me at all.
I'm
You should
still.
see him playing softball. He's first base. Great.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so yeah, so we went our separate, and I think that's another reason why we didn't get in trouble with our probations, because we got right on it, and we could have ran and just skipped town and said screw this, or we could have immediately got into a different facility each, you know, and so
And that's probably the
we
first
really-
time we
yeah.
helped ourselves, right?
Right.
Yeah, listen, I got to take my hat off to you. this is kind of an episode of what not to do.
Right.
Let's just call a duck,
Oh,
right? So it's an episode of what not to do in early relationships, but who better to tell it than somebody who's walked through it themselves like you two, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so I think absolutely you could have done a number of things. You could have went back out.
Oh
Yes.
You could have gone on the run like Mandy said. You could have, but you didn't. You did the next right thing.
yeah. Yep.
And things lined up because we were honest, because we stuck to it. At first, my drug court, we couldn't see each other for quite a while.
We broke that rule.
Just a couple. And
Wasn't the first rule you broke, Luke.
yeah, no. So after a while, we were allowed to actually live with each other. So then everything was.
But
fine.
getting to that point.
How long were you not supposed?
6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
going back to it, so
Where did you guys end up going?
we got a place together. Our first place together.
I mean, like
in-
once you left.
what
I
treatment
went.
center?
I
Yeah.
actually went to the Southwest Center, which is amazing, because I feel like the difference between the Lionsgate and Southwest is you get to make your own decisions, and if it's, let's say, a wrong decision, then there's consequences. With Lionsgate, I kind of felt like they were telling you what to do and how to live. So for me, it was really good on being able to make my own choices, and if you have a consequence, then so be it, you know. And
Right,
I'm more
right.
of an adult,
Got you.
and not babysat.
But
A little bit more organic, right? Natural
Right.
consequences
Yeah,
set in.
absolutely.
Okay.
yeah, okay. I can get with that. But
He's not co-signing
Right,
it, sounds
yeah.
like.
no, I mean the treat, like when we were in residential in Lionsgate, it was cool because it was the first treatment center that I had been in. It was my third time, and they made you do it one way. Like if you wore a hat, you got in trouble. And
Yeah.
something that simple at first was like, why can't I wear a hat? Like, you
Sure,
know. But
sure.
then it goes down to, if you can learn to follow one rule you don't like, then maybe you can follow one rule in the big world you don't like, right?
So you get kind of the modality of Lionsgate around, if you can do the little things, hopefully you can learn to do the big things. And you appreciated that.
I did, because being in a wheelchair especially, I can get around rules. Like, it's
Oh
true.
my-
Like,
I've-
you can
I'm a
manipulate with
witness.
that thing.
I'm
and
a
I don't even
witness.
have to try. People do it for me. Like, I go into a doctor's office, and I'm not kidding, and they ask me what I want. I don't tell them what I want.
Ooh.
And so, you know, I go somewhere and they want to help me, so they want to enable me just because I'm in a chair. And if as an addict, that is the worst thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So-
yeah.
and
So
so,
you could use that to basically kind of get out of stuff or get into stuff.
oh yeah. And
right?
so when
Manipulation card.
they started not letting me, you know, get around it, it was like the best thing for me. And so when they kicked us out, I was like, man, I can't get away with everything, right? And so for me, it's like, okay, I need to step my game up, you know. And then I
in
think
the right way, right?
yes, yeah. And so I go to Renaissance Ranch, but kicking us both out, I think, taught me just the lesson of you got to follow rules, right? You got to
Yeah.
follow the laws. You got to follow.
It sounded like even though the consequences could have been a lot
Oh
lot worse, you still had that wake up call.
Oh yeah.
It was a good kind of smack in the face, that sobering, like, holy cow, we dodged a huge bullet here. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you like Renaissance?
I loved it. Mainly because I grew up on a farm and I've worked since I was old enough to walk, right?
Yeah.
And so right before I went to Renaissance, I was going to day treatment every day and not working. And so once I got to Renaissance, it was at night, and so I had the ability to go back to work, right? And so it gave me like a sense of self-worth.
Absolutely.
I could take care of myself type thing, because for so long I was using everyone else to take care of me. And so,
It gave you a sense of purpose.
yeah.
It gave you a direction, gave you that little bit of that, what you needed to feel some kind of gratification in yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we only got about 50 seconds left here. We're winding down. And so thank you guys so much for jumping on here. We're going to stop right there, this little cliffhanger of where it went from here. In part 2, we're going to jump into more of, kind of the benefits, the struggles, It's been 2 years since this happened, so catch up a little bit more on how you guys against all odds really kind of made it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right,
listen,
yeah.
a lot of this situation doesn't turn out as pretty and as awesome as your guys' situation has turned out. So we're gonna jump into some of that when we come back from our little 30-second break here.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller, sponsored by Steps Recovery Center and the Hilton Garden Inn. We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
All right, and we're back. We're back. Hey, Mandy, we have a couple sponsors.
Yeah.
Who's our next sponsor?
The next sponsor is the Hilton Garden Inn in St. George, Utah. It's always sunny and bright at the Hilton Garden Inn. They have
It
great
is.
amenities. Look them up. Sean's laughing.
She did a great job. She was almost
give 'em
there,
a
right?
Google
If you're
search. They're
traveling through
great.
southern Utah, give them a Google search. Just type in Hilton Garden Inn, St. George, Utah. They are fantastic. We love those guys. They always treat us really good. So, yeah, there's that. And then one more sponsor. Have you guys heard of Recovery Strong? I got the little coffee mug right here. Recovery Strong.
I
They're
have.
all about. They're awesome. Fighting addiction, strengthening recovery. The thing I love about Recovery Strong is they're really helping to change the stigma, right? To be able to have the conversation, wear your recovery with pride. I hate the stigma. It's a big thing. Anyways, go check it out. They have amazing apparel. Just go to recoverystrong.com. They got hoodies, they got hats, they got t-shirts, they got gift cards if you want to get somebody something for Christmas. They're always, look them up on social media. They're always doing promotions. If you're wanting to get something today, though, when you check out, type in We Do Recover 15, and that saves you 15% off of your entire purchase, off your entire cart. And Luke and Mandy, remind me before we wrap this thing up, before you guys take off today, I actually got gift cards for you guys. I just need to get your emails, and they'll send you an electronic gift card, and then you can get your guys' self some apparel.
Oh,
Thank you.
sweet.
That's
Cool?
nice. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Mandy, where were we in this thing?
I don't know.
I'm trying to get you worked in
I
the mix,
see
babe.
what you're doing. I
You
see
see what I'm
it. I
doing?
appreciate it.
Okay, all right. She's like, I'm just here to look
Great,
pretty.
yeah.
You're the guy
Here
that
for
makes a
support.
goofball of yourself. All right, I'm doing a good job of that. So, you guys basically sounds like Mandy went to Southwest, Luke went to Renaissance. At that point in time, you were supposed to spend 6 months apart from each other, right?
It was about 5, 6, yeah.
So what was the benefit of not going to treatment together anymore and doing separate programs? How did that work out in your guys' relationship? Did it strengthen it? Did it weaken it? Were you worried that Luke was winking at other ladies? Luke, were you worried that Mandy was, whistleblowing at other dudes?
That's why I said you're going to an all women's
Yeah.
rehab.
So no, but it's good because, in my addiction, I think a lot of girls can agree with me. I hung out with the dudes, you know what I mean? And I hated women. I didn't have any connection with them at all. And so getting into a day treatment that was all women helped me out immensely. Oh my gosh. Like I still am really good friends with a lot of them, and
How uncomfortable were you at first?
oh, I wouldn't even say a word. Like nothing. I'm like, these ladies are out to get me. So, yeah, no.
Sounds like it really challenged you, though, and it pushed
It
you.
did. And I think that's another reason why they pushed me to do that. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But it was in recovery, that's what they teach you is get outside of your box and be uncomfortable. So
The
that
growth
really,
happens in uncomfortability.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So 3 principles I'm big on is rigorous authenticity, be honest, right?
Yeah.
Do uncomfortable work and turn over the outcome. Don't try to control it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's awesome. All right, Luke, what do you think, man? How did it strengthen it? How did it hurt it? What was your take on the situation at that time?
Well, at this time, I'm still like my head has been spinning for months, and then it just keeps going, right?
What do you mean by spinning? Talk
Well,
to me a little bit
well,
about that.
so I'm out on pretrial release, and I'm getting sober, and I still haven't even been sentenced.
Ooh.
So I don't even know what's going to happen to me yet.
For all you know, you're going to just end up right back in the slammer.
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm having a kid.
Baby on the way.
So I don't know. For all you guys out there, when you have your first kid, you know how this is because you are scared.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding you. I probably had more breakdowns about having a kid than anything else in my life because I was like, I don't want it. I got to make sure this kid turns out all right, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For good
He
reason.
was more moody than I was.
And you were the one pregnant.
Yeah.
But to finally, so when we got in our separate programs, I finally got to slow down a little bit. Like, okay, I can talk to somebody, be in a group, and work on myself a little bit for a second.
Did you do that, though? Did you really talk about the fears you were having, the anxiety you were having around having a kid? Did you open up and get vulnerable about that stuff?
I did. And then I could get some feedback and get like, you know, what's crazy is you start opening up like that and someone else does about the same or close to the same thing. And then all of a sudden you guys, it's just a group helping each other.
That's the beauty of group therapy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And usually, though, there's a lot of, surface level stuff and a big bore fest, and it takes one person to crack the egg, and then everybody else starts getting vulnerable. It really, like, I've been doing this for a minute, not a super long time, but I've been counseling for a minute. And as soon as, like you said, Luke, as soon as one person is willing to get vulnerable and get deep, everybody else wants to, but they're afraid to.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool that you saw that experience. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I was taught, someone really important to me told me, being silent is selfish, because you could be helping somebody else.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true. And so we get this time apart for a minute, and then I don't really know what happened after that.
Well, everything was great. Like everything, he was working, I was working. We were just waiting for the baby. We moved into this place together.
Oh, we got to start out with the place because we always start from the bottom after recovery, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so because I was living with my aunt and uncle, and she was living in a sober house.
Yeah.
And we finally, she got approved that we could live together. And I'm like, oh, sweet, let's get a place. So in St. George, we're just starting out. It's expensive here.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And we find this garage pretty much that someone made into like a casita, they would call it.
Right.
It's
so
a garage.
they could make a little extra income
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. But I was pumped about this garage.
It was yours.
Yeah. We could finally get our own little space. And we got people, one of our friends gave us a couch, and I was like, oh, we got a couch.
Yeah.
The little things.
Nothing to couch surf on. It's our couch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then our relationship kind of grew from there, but we make it kind of sound like, I feel like we've kind of made it sound like, okay, this is easy, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy.
Talk to me about the hard stuff. What was hard?
Well,
I made you swallow on that one.
Okay, so kind of technically not really knowing each other that well yet, and I'm pregnant, and we're moving in with each other. That was a challenge, was living with somebody and starting to get to know them, it was
and then
well, getting to know them on a more than surface level,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because look, when you move in with somebody, you find out if they squeeze the toothpaste from the middle or from the back.
Right.
Wow, that could have went real bad.
Yeah.
You find out, do they clean their dishes or do they
Yes.
not? Do they just leave them dirty
do
in the
they
sink?
put the toilet paper on this way or this way?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you do learn that.
You learn those things.
Yeah.
So that's what you mean by
Yes,
getting to know them
exactly.
deeper.
Yeah. And then on the addiction part of it, we're just freshly into recovery,
About
Yeah.
how much clean time do you both have at this time?
At this time,
It was like
I'm a
probably-
year in January.
no.
because-
He's talking about that time.
Oh wait, at that
The
time.
time when you moved in with each other.
Oh, at
It
that
was probably I was probably
you were over a year, weren't you?
no.
Oh,
I was probably 10 months
okay.
at that time.
okay, and I would have been like 8 then.
8, yeah.
Yeah. So I was
Gotcha.
always 2 months behind. So then, we're kind of fresh in this recovery, and our minds kind of start swirling together. Like we kind of just joke about using again as a joke, what
Yeah.
I talk about, and slowly, it kind of just was in the back of our heads for a while, and so we kind of just keep going on. We're fighting the good battle. We're going to groups, and then it was. Wait,
We had the baby.
we had the baby in December.
yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, it was hard because
Let me point that out, though. That's the danger, right? And that's what makes our families nervous about getting together with each other. Like that's what makes the counselors, that's what makes everybody super nervous. The fellowships
Yeah.
is because typically when you're a couple, if one person goes out, the other person oftentimes goes
Right.
out with them.
yeah,
And we were also kind of relying on each other, which you should not do. Eventually, we got over that, and I started getting my own recovery, and he got his. Like, I do all these H&I things, and I have my AA. He's more of a spiritual guy where he's got his work crew guys, and, he just has it. So he doesn't necessarily go to as many meetings as I do. I need
Right.
at least 5 a week, and I need to fill my spiritual cup with, service work and stuff like that. So I'm more of like a hands-on type of, little more sick.
And I'm a big I'm a big believer in whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are people that do. They hit multiple fellowship, they go to multiple fellowship meetings a week. Other people, maybe they just get a good, solid, strong person in their life, like sounds like
Yeah.
Luke did, and have a mentor, and all pathways that lead to recovery.
Right.
yeah.
And I also think that, so when I graduated drug court in this last August, so I went through a little like shift right there too in my life. I kind of got lost for a minute, and I called my sponsor right away, and I was just like, I need help. Like, how do I get these feelings out of my head, And so I did 90 and 90. I did Zoom meetings because of the baby, and then in person as well. But that helped me get connected again with the fellowship. And if you can just ride those out, then, something good always comes out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what were some of the
You like to fast forward to like where we're at right now. I like to go through all the hard paths on the way.
Yeah,
right?
no, let's hear it then.
Great.
Let's hear it.
So I'm working every day, and that started to actually do the opposite of what it was doing at first, right?
What do you mean?
Like, so at first I'm like, okay, I feel purpose. I'm working. I'm providing. We're paying rent. The baby's on the way. And then it's like one day I'm like, because when I'm in active addiction, I could say I was working every day, but
Right.
I probably wasn't working every day.
We're really good at justifying and
Yeah.
rationalizing, sure.
Yeah. And so, I was letting it roll over in my mind of using, and I don't really know if it was all just like probably just fresh in recovery, and it was just a new feeling, everything we were going through. And COVID, the whole COVID thing hits at this time.
Yeah, COVID was rough.
And the worst thing they did, at the time we all need to be separated, right? But for addicts, you're isolating us, right?
Yes.
And isolation for me in that way is just horrible. So
I know it's a super cheesy saying, but people say it all the time, and it is true. There's some truth to it, and that's why they say it. The opposite of addiction is connection, right?
Right.
And so COVID really did. Like right now we're seeing a big spike in people that are relapsing, people that are moving into more of a heavy active addiction because of that reason,
yeah.
because of the isolation. So
Yeah,
that totally
and
makes sense.
overdoses. Yeah, it's
Yeah. And so at this time, where I work, there's a lot of people coming in and out of this store to get parts. I'm around a lot of people, and I actually get sick. Okay.
COVID.
I get COVID. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So in January would be a year since I got COVID. But this is the first time my boss is like, hey, you can't come into work. Yeah, you got to take 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going from doing something every day to isolated in this garage, you could say, right?
Right.
And I'm watching shows and stuff, and she had just had the baby. So, like, as women, after they have the baby, they're going through a lot of emotional, like, stuff, right?
Yes.
Their
I've
body's
seen that
changing,
firsthand.
and, like,
Yeah.
and so,
Postpartum depression sets in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And so our minds are had been swirling for this amount of time. And then I was like, we could get away with using because we're isolated.
So those thoughts, those triggers and cravings started coming back super strong for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the worst part about it is, like you said, when one person in a couple does use so does the other one,
Yeah,
right?
typically.
And so we relapsed, right, during this time. And this was a year ago in January. And it was the worst experience of my life. Like, so when you get through all that recovery, like I had graduated from Renaissance, and you get all that recovery in you, and then you let that, like, I'm a spiritual dude. I call it the dark spirit, right? You let that dark spirit into you.
Yep.
And I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Like I was depressed about it. I don't know. I lost a lot of my self-confidence at that moment.
I think that's a beautiful thing about treatment is you get to a point where you know better.
Yeah.
You've seen the good life. You've had a taste of recovery. And so when you go back out and you do have a lapse, and I appreciate you being honest, like that's super cool that you can be super, oh yeah, we went through this program and everything was just great. And like you're painting a real picture, like it happened, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The perfect storm happened and you end up having a relapse and that's okay. One thing I tell people after they relapse and they're super hard on themselves is nobody can take back that time that you had. And like you're saying, Luke, I think that exactly what you're saying right now, it's so true. You know better. You've had a taste of the good life. You have some kind of identity, self-identity back. And so it's not the same. We ruin it for you.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And so at this point, I'm like, wow, that was not what I was making it all out to be. Like that was so, and I was like, I think at that time I was like 2 days or a week of having a year, like my first year.
Oh, you were so close.
And I was 2 weeks away from graduating drug court.
So it was like self-sabotage all the way around.
Yeah.
There probably was a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it was kind of like after I hated this and I was like, okay, I got to start doing everything they're saying, right? So I was praying every day, going back to work, and then I got to go be honest with my boss, right?
Ooh.
And I loved this job, and I'm thinking he's gonna fire me because
You're catastrophizing, worst case scenario.
Oh yeah, I'm all like stressed out, and he's like, you are the most honest person, like, for coming and saying this to me, And after that, it kind of just opened up this relationship with my boss where I could just be completely honest with him about everything if I was feeling a certain way. And so he kind of gave me guidance at the time of like what he would do or like what he thinks I should try or whatever to try to like build myself up. And so throughout this, she started going through her own thing again where she was doing a little program, right?
Yeah, I went and did another program for 30 days. Which I appreciate a lot because I really got to dissect that relapse and figure out what my red flags were, and it just helped me out a lot to see myself even deeper.
So instead of beating yourself up over it, you guys took it and you learned from it.
Absolutely,
Yeah. And
that's when we started doing our, like, we were just too.
Was that a recommendation that you got from somebody? It just kind of happened that way. Like
I feel like one day we're like, okay, they teach, if you're in a relationship, you have to do your separate programs.
Right.
And we've heard that over and over and over again. And
you guys hadn't really been doing that.
No, like honestly, it was kind of in a way, not
like
necessarily.
Subconsciously or something,
She was my higher power and I was her higher power in a way. And I don't know if that makes sense, but
oh yeah,
we
you were leaning
relied
on each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Instead
can't
of both
do that.
standing and growing on your own 2 feet, you were kind of each standing on one leg, leaning on each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly. And so then once we took our took our own direction, there was kind of a little bit of like, I don't know, I'd say a little bit of anger in it too, because it's like, why are you doing that? You know,
there's less time with me, like whatever. So-
Yeah, you started getting a little jealous.
And I'm just
of
like,
time
I have to go to these meetings. I have to do my recovery first, or I get like that,
Absolutely. So Luke's kind of painted the picture of what it looked like the turnaround for him, and it sounds like his boss actually appreciated it, and their relationship grew closer. Instead of that fear that he had of being pushed away, it sounds like he pulled you in closer. Is that
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like it's just telling the truth. It's scary at first, but the outcome is beautiful.
What did that look like for you, though? So you went and needed a 30-day program. What really kind of did you, when that relapse happened, was it kind of like Luke said? Was it like, man, I've really been, romancing over this, and it wasn't as great as I remember it?
Yeah.
Or what did that look like in your mind?
It was horrible. And when you use, it just takes you right back to where you were when you started. You just feel there's just nothing, and it's just empty, And for me, just having the baby, it was even worse for me, and that guilt, and so I did a lot of work over that, and I know I'm a good mom. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's move a little bit into today. What do you guys bring us up to? Kind of, we've already touched on the first part, so I've already kind of ruined this, but you guys are getting married, right?
Yeah.
You're engaged.
Yeah.
So you had that lapse. What does your life look like rebuilding that today? And are you still in the garage? In other words,
No.
progressed in the story. What does that look like? What does progression look like?
So we moved into a while ago. We moved into a condo, and it's really nice.
Yeah, about it hasn't been like 6-7 months.
Yeah,
7 months.
it's been a while.
But we finally got this place and had a water softener, right? And I was like,
ooh,
this
bougie,
is
bro.
Awesome.
Bougie.
Had a dishwasher.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, jeez.
and everyone's like, are you really pumped about it? Heck yeah. Like, and the bed had this, it came half furnished, right? The bed tilt up, and I was like, man, we're going somewhere. This thing is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
like moving.
It's funny you say that, though. Sorry, I'm going to make this about me for just 2 seconds because I can relate. It's funny you say that. I put out a post like over a year ago about how grateful I was to lay in a bed, hear the heater kick on, smell the heater for the first time in the winter. Like, and people are like, seriously, dude, a heater? And I'm like, bro, I've been homeless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check it out. Like, you guys are like, dude, I lived in a garage. Yes, I'm stoked about the dishwasher because I've lived in a garage, right? Like, you appreciate the little
I can
things.
relate to that too, because the last part of my addiction, I lived in a storage unit, and I was eating out of dumpsters. Like, that's where my addiction took me. And
Right.
so for me, I appreciate every little thing now. And so, yeah.
So that
I
water
agree.
softener and that dishwasher is
Heck
like,
yeah.
ooh, we made it, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Would you guys care if we hit you with some relationship questions in the last
absolutely.
3 minutes? Let's put their relationship to test.
Okay.
You know some good relationship questions.
Okay, will you come up with the first one?
I absolutely will.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Mandy,
Yes.
Luke calls you and he says, hey, babe, I'm hungry. Will you bring home lunch? What is Luke's favorite thing to bring home? And do you know how to, like, order it for him? What does he like? What does he not like?
Cheeseburger.
Luke, don't look at her, bro. You have to play this straight.
All right, it's a cheeseburger. That's so easy.
It's so true.
His favorite cheeseburger place. What
Cheeseburger.
is it?
Oh man,
He can't save you right
I
now,
know,
Mandy.
but there's so many. Iceberg. He likes iceberg.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I like any
Okay,
cheeseburger.
In and Out. He likes In and Out too.
I love
Cheeseburgers.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My favorite though is probably Five Guys.
Oh,
Oh, if I'm getting a burger,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
Five
yeah, yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
Fire.
They're like
Maybe we'll go there
homemade.
after this. Yes. Okay, babe. Question for Luke.
Okay, if Mandy was a piece of furniture, what furniture would she be and why?
Wow. You shouldn't let girls ask questions. They're hard.
Good luck. She's been storing that one, bro.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be a lazy boy because she ain't lazy.
Process of elimination.
We're
Yeah.
crossing them off. Great.
Honestly, so I grew up as a farmer, so I'm like, I'm not fancy.
Right.
So she would be like that, like those old school couches that are like the wood legs, you know, all like duck out, and they're fancy with like white, not leather, just white stitched awesome cloth that's just fancy, and like you would see in like, you know, like England, like a nice just stitched.
Yes.
And I say that because she's just elegant. Like she sees something I'm wearing, she's like, you can't wear that.
I love it. I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
that's a great answer.
Okay, Mandy.
Yes.
Luke's most embarrassing moment since you guys have been together. Let's get to it. We got a minute left. Let's get some dirt. Finish this on a high note.
Oh man.
Yeah, we can't say the first three,
Yeah,
so
no. I don't know. That's a hard question.
Oh, I know.
Just say it.
No, the hill. Remember the hill?
The hill. He's giving you a hint.
Let's go for a
Oh
walk.
my gosh. So he's like, let's go on a hike. And I said, okay, well, there's this, where's that at?
Bike path. It's over by the new Ninja course thing up on the top of the
So
hill.
this hill goes like straight down, and we went straight down, and we had to walk all the way back up, and I had to push him and push the baby thing together
it's
at
like
the
a
same
5-degree
time.
slope.
And it's
Oh my
105 degrees outside, so
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Nice.
insane.
I know this is last minute, last 20 seconds. What advice would you give somebody who's thinking about getting into a relationship in early recovery?
I'd say wait at first and just focus on yourself.
Yeah, don't do it. It makes everything a lot harder. So
Thank you guys so much. And you guys really are an amazing example of people in recovery. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
yep, thanks.
Thank you for joining us today on We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening.
Brought to you by Steps Recovery Center and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. This has been a production from a podcast studio.